So I'm in the middle of nowhere. I'm in the boonies. So I'm here with my friend Barb. Say hi, Barb.
Hi, everybody.
Hi, Barb.
Hello.
Hi, Barb.
Hi, darlings.
Hi, Barb.
Hi. Hi.
I didn't know there were boonies in Florida.
I know, huh?
Yes, there are.
Yeah, we're on some.
We're in the Southwest Florida water management areas. Florida has 5 water management districts.
Yeah.
Ooh, watch
It's
out
like
for
where
gators.
people come with their horses. It's one of those kind of places. What's that word again? I always forget.
This is an equestrian campground.
There we go. Yeah. Okay. Are we ready to start? Is there anybody here for the first time that's never been here before?
Welcome.
Hi.
Where are you joining us from?
From Ocean View near Virginia Beach, Virginia.
Okay.
Welcome.
And how did you hear about Lulu?
YouTube, when I had a big surgery, I found the University of YouTube, and then I discovered van lifers and car campers, and then I found Lulu. So I was following her journey, and then when I got better, I went last year in March to her meetup.
Oh, nice. Oh, I recognize the name. Yeah, I recognize your name.
Oh, you recognize me?
Yes. Welcome. I'm glad you're here.
Thank you.
My name is Susan.
Hi, Susan.
I'm from Greenfield, Tennessee.
Well, welcome.
And you're probably looking at me and think if anybody needs Lulu's Way, it's Susan.
You know, anybody could use Lulu's Way.
I did my first meal tonight.
Oh,
so
good.
learning to prep is going to be the big thing for me.
Yeah.
And I'm enjoying seeing people post their pictures of their meal to give a visual. That's very helpful, and it's wonderful to meet you all.
Yeah. Oh, I'm so glad you're here. And you know,
Thank
the prep, it's going to feel overwhelming and like too much
Yeah.
when you first start until it doesn't feel that way anymore. Until you just love taking care of yourself, and that's what you're going to do
Right.
with your time. You're going to do
Right.
that with your time.
Thank you.
Yeah. Good. I'm glad you're
Thank you
here.
for letting me be a part.
I'm glad you're here.
Hi Lulu, I'm Katie. You know me.
Hi, Katie.
How are you?
Oh,
This is my first time.
Oh, I'm so glad you're here.
Yeah, I had lost 40 pounds and gained 10 pounds over the last few months. So I'm here for motivation and get back on track.
Oh, good. Good. I'm glad you're here.
Thanks.
I just saw Katie last week at my meetup.
Yes.
And I actually just saw you last night in my van when I was editing my Pet and Me. You and the girls. Yeah, you and the girls.
My girls. Yep. I got 2.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, I'm glad you're here, Katie.
Thank you.
Hi, Lulu. I'm Kim.
Hi, Kim.
I am so excited to be here. I was on last week, but I didn't get to say hi to anyone because I got on a little bit late, I think. But I'm raring to go. I've been doing it since the 14th of this month.
Good for you.
Oh, good.
Good.
Oh, and I joined your book club too. So
Oh, good. Good.
Got my book.
They kind of go hand in hand.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes, I'm excited.
Yeah. Good. I'm
Oh,
excited.
and I'm in West Virginia.
Okay. Well, I'm very excited for you. I'm excited that you're here and you have
Thank you.
you have hopes and you have a plan.
Yes, ma'am.
Yay.
I don't know. Can anybody hear me or see me? This is my first time on as well.
We see you.
Yes, good to you. Hi. Hi.
Hi.
My first time. I'm Jan, and I met you last week, Lulu.
Hi. Yes.
Definitely on the internet. Yeah, I was at the meetup, and it was just a brief visit. I was a day visitor, but it was wonderful.
Yeah.
And I'm going to get on that health train.
Good.
I'm like Katie. I had lost 60 pounds 5 years ago, and it was my sugar addiction, and the weight came off. And I felt so good, and I thought I'd never go back, but dang if that sugar didn't get hold of me again, and here I am, 60 pounds up again.
Yeah.
It's a yo-yo thing. I've been doing it my whole life, so
Yep.
I really want to get off that roller coaster.
Right, and
be
your,
healthy.
and your story is not much different than most of us. So, you know, you're not unique, and it can be done. A whole new lifestyle can be achieved. You know.
I did it for a while, and then I couldn't anymore. I'm so afraid I'm gonna, do that again. But I'm gonna try.
Yeah. Good. Good. I'm glad you're here.
Cole, and I'm grateful for the opportunity to be your host this evening. To keep this meeting free from distraction, we ask that all in attendance please mute yourselves unless you are speaking. We also ask that you keep the video mode turned off if you are doing anything other than sitting and participating in this meeting so that we can minimize distraction. In this community, we gather to support, encourage, and inspire on the benefits of nutrition, weight loss, wellness, and the joy that comes from choosing to serve yourself well. We are not medically trained, nor do we have formal training in nutrition. We come together here for the sole purpose of providing support, sharing experiences, and promoting a healthy lifestyle. It may be wise to check with your healthcare professional with any dietary suggestions or advice you receive from this group discussion, particularly if you have health challenges.
Okay, so if everybody could mute, usually we take care of that and we keep people muted, but I don't have the power to do that right now.
So, our topic tonight is, I'm calling it Mind the Gap. And this is something I think for me has been critical, because when you stop using unhealthy food, there's going to be a void or feelings of loss. If nothing else, the loss of the food crutch. And before or even after we're on the healthy eating bus, it's critical to fill that gap with nourishing habits, self-love, and looking after the needs that the overeating was masking. So I thought that would be a good topic tonight, is minding the gap.
That is a good topic. So I know that, back when I first started this lifestyle, there was a big gap when I stopped eating like this, and I just didn't know what to do with myself, because it felt different than so like many times that I've lost weight many times in my life, and I can remember what I used to do with my time while I was on my weight loss journey. I would have my face in recipe books, waiting for the day that I could get off of this gosh darn food plan, and not this one, but other diets, Weight Watchers, and every diet you can imagine. I would be imagining the day that I'm off of it, and this is what I'm going to make. I'm going to make this. I'm going to have this, and I would watch the Food Network, and I would watch all the shows. This is what I did to fill in the gap. Okay, so I was setting myself up for failure. This time felt different. I really felt like this was going to be it, because I got rid of a couple of other really bad habit addictions of mine. So it felt like this was kind of like the final piece for me. So when I stopped drinking, I was filling the gap with the cigarettes and the food. And then when I stopped smoking, and now I'm not smoking and drinking, I was filling in the gaps with food, right? So now all I had left was the food. So, and then eventually the food went. And just know that if you have a feeling of emptiness and a real void, and you're feeling a void, just know that that's normal, because it takes time to come off of an addiction. Like, anybody that's quitting smoking is miserable for a few weeks. People that are getting off of drugs, thank God, God spared me that. I was never a druggie. But you're getting off drugs. Sometimes you need to be hospitalized to do that. People need to be hospitalized to get off of alcohol. That's how hard these addictions are. And sugar addiction sugar is like crack. It's just like it's got you by the throat, and there is a withdrawal, and there is a part where you feel like you're going to go out of your mind, because it's like, this is what you do. This is what you do to fill in any gap in life, is to go grab the food, go grab something, always in the the fridge for something. And so once that subsides and you just start to feel better because you're not breaking promises to yourself and you're sticking with what you're doing, and I just started filling my life up with joy. I was like, what is it that makes me feel joy? Like, I don't want to watch the Food Network. I don't want to look, you know what I want to do? I want to get all my recipe books and I want to go donate them. And that's exactly what I did. I had a stack. And all my diet books, all the lose weight books, all the how to lose weight in 30 days, how to do this diet, how to do that. They all went. And I just got rid of them all because I was like, that is just nonsense. Nonsense. I just got really excited about the food that I was eating because I became hungry for it. Like, I was hungry in a healthy way. I wasn't famished by some of the fad diets that I've done in the past, where I'm just like famished. Like, I can remember being on a diet like that, and I would eat, like, I'd say I'm going to have like one chicken breast, and it was like on the bone. It wasn't like a boneless, it was on the bone. And I remember every little teeny rib, I'm like, you know, I'm like, it was just like the weirdest thing, you know, because it was just like, I mean, there wasn't a speck left on it. And that's because I was famished and I was undernourished. And that's what really is wonderful about this food plan, is because you really do stay satiated, so you're not dealing with hunger all the time. And if you think you're hungry, you're probably not. You're probably not. Like, hunger is like, I always say, like, to determine if you're hungry or not, like, do I feel like if you just don't have enough food? Are you lightheaded, dizzy, or weak? If you feel any of those three things, you should never feel any of those three things. You should never feel dizzy, lightheaded, or weak. And if you do, you need more food. Anytime that I would be like hungry, I was really just going for that hand to mouth, just that habit, just the habit of just that, doing that for myself. And then I would just say, like, yeah, I'm not lightheaded, dizzy, or weak. I am I just want to do it. And then I didn't. And then I just got so many days together, and I started getting started feeling so much better, losing weight. I wasn't anywhere near my goal weight, but I was already feeling better. And that's when I began my spiritual journey. And I have a video on that on my channel. If you search Lulu's Way spiritual journey or something like that, I just share the beginning of my spiritual journey, which is what I've been. I feel like when I got involved in that, it really is a really big subject, and it's a really rich subject, and I feel like it filled that void. It filled the void for me, and it's just been an ongoing thing. And so, you know, I remember I was doing videos, and I'd say, oh, I'm going to go read my book. It's, you know, this Wayne Dyer book, and, you know, and people, and I said, I went on a book study. I have a book study with a few girlfriends on Saturday mornings, and people were saying, like, can I join? I want to join that book study. And I said, well, it's kind of like me and my friends, you know. And so then somebody else said it. I want to join the book study. And I said, well, it's just me and my friends. Well, so many people were saying it. And that's why I started the book study group with my subscribers. And that's on Tuesday nights, 6 o'clock on this same Zoom room. And we study spiritual literature together. And it's very, very fulfilling to just, we're not studying religion. We're studying right now we're studying yoga's ethical practice. So it's just really, really cool stuff. And it just keeps me it keeps my thoughts in proportion to reality. That's what a spiritual journey does to me. Like, what's real here. It helps me to like look within for those answers. And I just started feeling better, so I started walking, I started getting out in nature. Bob and I are big hikers. We did a lot of hiking together, and it just feels, when you just start feeling better, and you just, when food isn't the focus of my life, I'm out walking and I'm noticing things that I never noticed, even things in my own neighborhood. I'm walking through my own neighborhood and it's like a different place, when you just kind of, just snapping out of the food fog, and this group came after the book study group, and it just seemed like people were very, very interested in what I was eating and how I was eating. And even this whole van life thing, you don't have to have a camper van full of cans and boxes. Like, you just don't have to do that. Like, you can really eat fresh, even if you have to use the grocery store as your refrigerator. So let the grocery store be your pantry, even if you have to go there every day. If you can't store food the way that I've prepared myself to store food, if you can't store food like that, I would be at the grocery store every morning. I would get what I needed for the day, and I would make sure that I was able to follow this plan. But I designed, my van around what's important to me. And that's the number one important thing to me. And then my whole van life experience it's just a whole different thing. I mean, if it was really, I'm just thinking, I don't know how I would do this if it was food and everything was food. You know what I mean? I just love that I just have my own food, and I have a life that is just a joy. And I feel like you're longing for it all the time. But you have to like kind of fall in love with the new food and just love every bite of it. And when you really come to terms with the fact that this is how I want to eat, not that I have to, but I want to, I'm choosing it. This is how I'm going to choose to eat for the rest of my life. You're going to start loving what you eat, because every time I stick my fork in a meal when I first start, it's like heaven, because I love it, and because I'm hungry. I'm actually hungry for it, because I'm not just dropping stuff in my mouth all throughout the day. So and I've read somewhere that our real purpose in life, I always thought like I needed this big grandiose purpose in life, like, what's my purpose? I'd be thinking over a bag of Cheetos, what's my purpose? And I just really never really had the answer. I always felt like it had to be something just grandiose and something, I don't know, I never found it. And then I came to discover that my real purpose, and I think everybody's purpose, it's kind of all the same. It's really just to be of service to others, to be of service to God. And I didn't know how that was going to look or what I was going to do. And I started my YouTube channel, and I didn't think I didn't do it to be of service to others. I didn't think I just was going to just be an old lady in a van. That's what I was just doing, and it was just going to be fun. And like, this is how I do this, and this is how I do that, and I had no idea the impact that I was going to make. And I think that God divinely orchestrated this for me, whereby I have, a room full of people on, how many people are in this room right now, Nicole?
49.
49. Okay, so we got 50 people here tonight. We had 80 people at the book study on Tuesday night. It's a lot of people that just want to feel better physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. So, you know, I feel like I got the food thing tackled and I don't have to think about that anymore. You have so much time when you don't have to think about that anymore. You got to trust me on that. You have so much time. So anybody that says you don't have time to do all this food prep, you just wait until food is not the big focus in your life, and you'll see how much time you have. You'll all the time to go shopping and touch and feel all that produce and pick the right ones for you and pick the fresh ones and just the stuff that you love. Bring it all home. Zip around that grocery store with your cart full of beautiful things and just be proud of it. Bring it all home and none of it goes in the trash. Half of it used to go in the trash years ago because I buy all this produce for my diet, and then, you know, by the end of the week it was all brown. I was like, you know, well, I had a good idea, but I just couldn't facilitate it. But no more of that. No more of that. And so I just say that, like, you know, when you're feeling a void, I hope that, you know, you can go on this Facebook group and talk about it. Just make a post and say, you know, I'm feeling the void today. Who else is feeling the void today? You know, and then other people will talk. You know, any ideas, and then come in here on the meetings on Thursday. That's you know, you have a platform for it. You know, you have a platform to talk about what you're feeling and what you're feeling when you're feeling that void. You know, so that's what I got on this. What about you, Nicole?
Yeah, that was great. I can totally relate to when you said you used to look at recipe books and all of that. And, you know, I still now in my basement somewhere have a huge box like that, like a TV came in, the old kind of TV, that is full of recipes, family recipes, grandma's, everyone's cookbooks, all of that. And when it comes time to clear that out, because we're working on decluttering, you know, I'm going to be ruthless. I might even ask my mom and sister or someone, will you go through this and pull out grandma's recipes that you want? Because I don't want to look at them, because I don't want to think about, ooh, that was good. I mean, I know, you know, I know that. That's not what I want my focus to be anymore. And there was even a point where I thought I wanted to frame all my grandmas and my great aunts, their favorite specialties, and hang it as a picture in my kitchen. And I started collecting them to do that. And I thought, I love them, but no, I don't need to do that. I'm not kidding you. I want to have the Lulu Food Plan cross-stitched and framed for my kitchen so that everyone who comes over can see that is the way to go if you want to have good health. So I want to do that, and if I can't find someone crazy enough to cross-stitch that all for me beautifully and perfectly, I'm going to find another way to get that framed in my kitchen, because I think to me, that is beautiful. And, but yeah, filling the gap, you know, when I first started this plan, of course, I wasn't thinking about how all this emotional eating was covering up a bunch of things. You know, I kind of knew that, like, yeah, I probably overeat because, you know, I'm coping, right? But I didn't really take much time to unpack it. I was always running from it and trying to figure out what to eat next, you know, to keep that at bay. So in the very beginning, I did have like a gap of like, oh boy, now what am I supposed to do? You know, what am I supposed to do with these feelings? And what am I supposed to do with this time that I would normally be, you know, drumming up what next to eat? But that quickly got filled with healthy food prep, because as we all know, that takes a lot of time. And to throw yourself into that and embrace that, how long it takes sometimes, because it's keeping you doing something that's really healthy for you. And that's how I looked at it. But I also did some other things, and I made a list right away, because I realized sometimes I just sat there with my feelings like, oh, you know, now what am I supposed to do, right? So I made a list, and I just pulled it out of my notebook, my journal notebook, but I wrote a little list of things I could do. Like, I could take a walk, I could rest, I could read something, I could visit with someone, I could call someone, So I just made this little short list. Even take a shower, like even if you didn't need one, just take a shower because it's something good to do for yourself, and put lotion on and stuff like that. Get my nails done, which I haven't had done in years and years. But it's just these things to help me take like uncomfortable moments of like, now what, and do something that actually isn't damaging. But it didn't take me long when, before the gap was filled up with super exciting feelings of happiness and thinking, what else can I make that's healthy? What veggie do I want to try? Oh, I want to go to Sprouts, or oh, I want to go to Whole Foods and see if they have that, somewhere special that I normally don't shop. So things like that, it didn't take too long for that to click. But I remember hearing from someone a long time ago that if you stop doing something, you quit something, like, and I've never smoked, but you quit smoking, you got to start doing something else instead of just sit there with that feeling that you get. And so picking some healthy things to start doing, even if it's learning, like to knit or crochet, or learning something new, something that you can say, when you want to do that thing, I'm doing this thing instead. And that really helped me. So it might help someone here too, someone who's new. And now, having been doing this for a year and a half, there is no gap anymore. I'm busy, I'm cooking, I'm talking with some of you, and I'm enjoying every moment of like looking at the Facebook page. I don't have enough time in the day to do everything I want to do. And so it really quickly changes to being like not uncomfortable, but rather, kind of invigorating, at least in my case. So, yeah, and then the other thing I'll just mention right now, like in the very beginning, it was kind of like, when I didn't know if I could do this, I would think about, I'm going to do this, and no matter what, if I feel like I'm going to go off, or I can't, I'm going to promise myself that I will wait 3 days before I do anything that interrupts this plan. That was just in the very beginning, because I didn't want to see some food item somewhere and eat it and start the cycle of overeating again. So I told myself, you need to think about it for 3 days, seriously, because you can do that, as a human being who can put off, and that helped me too, just knowing I wasn't going to go awry quickly and eat something like I did in the past. And I never had to think about it 3 days. One other technique that I did, and I still do once in a while, like when I first realized, gosh, I don't think I'm supposed to have gum. And I might have even asked Lulu, like, can I have gum? And the answer is no, because there's no gum that's good for you that doesn't have sweetener or sugar, of course. And so this might seem like a corny, simple thing, but I literally would think, seriously about, am I going to mourn gum, or am I going to let it go, right? And so I just would hold my hand like this, literally like this, pretend I'm putting the gum on it, and go, goodbye gum. You don't really serve me well, and I'm done with gum, and it's okay. And I did that with a few other things too, like, I had to do it right away with my coffee sweetener, because I like to have coffee with sweetener and cream, and I thought I don't want to have coffee anymore because it's yucky. Well, now I love it and I cherish it, but I did that with the sweetener too, see you later, I'm letting you go because you're not good for me. So in the beginning, the gaps are, that gap of when you stop and when you're starting the plan, it's a little uncomfortable, but it doesn't take long, and then it gets really exciting. So that's what I have to share about that.
Oh, that was great, Nicole. And you're right, it is exciting. It can feel exciting at the beginning when you're first starting. You come into this group and you're seeing everybody that's doing it, and you're really excited, and you're really psyched, and maybe 3, 4, 5 days later you're not as excited anymore, because now it's like, because you still got the cravings, you're still waiting for that. You might not even identify it as a craving, but it's a discomfort. It's just a discomfort that you almost feel like an overwhelming urge to go have the cookie or whatever, and it's the sugar withdrawal. That's what it is, and you just got to give that time to get out of your body. And then, yeah, you're right, it's exciting. It's That's exciting. And you made me think, remember back when I had all my mother's recipes. So they were all my mother's recipes in that little wooden thing that, you know, that had all the index cards in it, all in her handwriting. And I gave it to my niece, all right? So it's her grandmother's recipes, right? And I was just like, that's who's getting them. I didn't give them to my daughter. She wouldn't make them. I just gave them to my niece. And she was thrilled. She was thrilled to get them, you know.